Let's now have a look at various kinds of testing. These kinds of testing usually emerge from the reasons of testing. Why teachers conduct or various agencies conduct certain tests. They give birth to various kinds of testing. In this regard, we'll start with the placement test. Placement tests are usually used to place students at different levels of learning in different classes or programs in line with their level of language they already know. It also defines the characteristics of every level of learning or level of proficiency. Moreover, it also is based on the syllabus and material which students would likely to follow. Usually these tests assess students' grammar and other knowledges like vocabulary knowledge. Moreover, it also looks into the productive and receptive skills in a language learning of a student. Next is the Diagnostic Achievement Test. They are used to expose students' weaknesses in learning, or in other words, gaps in their learning, their difficulties, and their skill deficiencies. They are there to assess these areas so that the future teaching may be designed in a way that their deficiencies may be reduced. So they could be useful for students themselves in the future. And overall, they work on identifying students' weaknesses and strengths. Such tests are usually difficult to construct because it is very difficult to design a test based on various individuals' strengths and weaknesses in a test. You might know few students' strengths or weakness based on a certain test, but at the same time there is a fear that you may not be able to know all students' strengths or weaknesses in a classroom based on the same test. So such difficulties always a part of these tests. Next is progress or achievement test. These tests aim to know students' progress or growth with certain syllabus they are studying in a classroom. They happen at frequent intervals during the teaching of a certain subject, and they are aimed to know that how far students has been successful in knowing what has been taught to them in the classroom. Well, as I said earlier, they happen quite frequently or after every few weeks within a classroom, and they give teachers a clue about the growth of their students' learning. And therefore, they are usually written by the teachers, and then they distribute these tests to their students according to their need. They can become part of formative assessment, and such tests usually work successfully if students are familiar with the content of the test. That doesn't mean that they should actually know what is going to appear in a test. Rather, it means that the test should comprise the contents similar to what has already been taught to them during the classrooms. Proficiency tests are the next. They're based on knowing the general ability of a student in relation to a language knowledge and skill to speak. They are frequently used at various stages, especially when students want to enter into a university or into an institution for higher studies, or they want to seek a job, or they want to seek some kind of certificate. Aptitude tests are also important. They are used to predict the student's ability to handle a future course or learning in a foreign language. And they are usually taken based on their purpose. They are taken before the actual learning or teaching. Next is learning dominance test. These tests are specially designed for multi or bilingual learners, and they are used to assess their relative ability in various languages. Next and the last in the list in this slide is the portfolio assessment. This is a different kind of assessment, and this is based on a student's assessment of their own produced works in form of portfolios. Teachers make their students write portfolios about their growth in learning, their progress in learning, and then they assess them regularly. They are different, as I said, and they're unique. They're considered to be authentic as it involves a lot of effort. And they also provide an evidence of students' efforts. Students may become autonomous, and they can also monitor their learning while writing portfolios. They have a clear validity because students have time to assess them and revise them or edit them before they could submit it. And overall, the research has shown that such portfolio assessment has a very positive washback effect on the learners. So this makes it an important tool for teachers to assess their students.